Okay, so I'm going to watch this Peter and Angie's new video. Because well, some of these people are just kind of clowns. So I'm going to be watching Angie's and Peter's new Vampire Castle video because they cannot stop quoting that fucking essay all year round. Mark Fisher's estate, I hope they got some fucking physical capital off of how much they shilled this thing, which is very bad and a very bad take, and I hated it. And I'm also doing different eye makeup while I wait for people to come in.
Taken root in the heart of all who dwell here. It drives. Weary web traveler, heed well this tale of misery and misfortune. Woe betide any who doubt the horrors of the Vampire Castle. A cursed fortress emerging from the nether realms, this fell bastion can appear in any land, at any time. The life essence of social justice and class solidarity are delivered unto its maw, and outflows bloodlust, recrimination, and spectacle. The Vampire Castle has taken root in the heart of all who dwell here. It drives the ascetic's mad desire to excommunicate, the pedant's rush to condemnation, and the youth's urge to banish wrongthink and be first among equals. Many of the left, in their quest to return light to the discourse, have essayed its obsidian battlements. But this only empowers darker magics still, as the Vampire Castle reflects and distorts these energies to cast a grand illusion. That good faith critics are instead defaming the struggle against oppression. The castle brooks no debate nor dissension. There is only the burning conviction that it, and it alone, is the true-born standard bearer of social justice. None can shake free from the iron grip of the new god of this age, the invisible hand of market forces. It is perfidy and malice made manifest. A pall has fallen across a small, unnamed hamlet at the heart of Twitlandia. Farms lie fallow and barren as the small folk succumb to the call of the castle. Madness grips the land, and the townsfolk descend into orgies of bloodlust and ritual sacrifice to drive the sinners from their midst. And it is here that we meet one poor, unfortunate soul who finds herself ensnared deeper and deeper within the curse of the Vampire Castle.
God.
Are you not pleased by the fare, young maiden?
Forgive me, my lord, but I fear my travails have made me weary.
You poor sweet child. Perhaps a cup of hot spice wine?
Oh no, I'm not one for strong drink.
Come, my dear, you look positively melancholy. Replenish your sanguine vitae. Drink! Excellent. Consume as much as you wish.
Are you not hungry, my lord?
I have perhaps a couple of other needs to satiate before I could eat even a bite of this kind of food.
They sure are digging up Mark Fisher to beat him into the ground again, aren't they?
What's that sound?
Don't fret, my pet, it's just thunder. It would seem that you have more pressing matters at hand anyhow. Please do tell me your woes, dear lady, how you came to my halls in such a wretched state. What troubles assailed you on the road?
I was attacked.
Attacked? What villain accosts a peasant in my land? Bandits? Vagabonds? Or perhaps even cut-purses?
No, my lord. It was Twitter leftists.
Ah, I see.
Your Grace, assailed as I was by the storm and crowd, I fled the highways and made out for your hilltop castle. I know these hallowed halls are the home of your lordship, the Viscount of Social Justice, and I thought that I may find shelter at your hearth and a sympathetic ear.
Then you have come to the right place, my dear. I hope you don't mind me asking, but what was young blood such as yourself doing out without a chaperone on a night such as this?
I did have someone with me, your Grace. Peter Van Coffin.
Van Coffin! That accursed name of that vile base-born wretch sends shivers through me. No wonder you were attacked. A sweet lady such as yourself should know better than to keep such company.
My lord!
He is a figure of the vilest contempt, a person of ill manners, what keeps the company of villains. Associating with such dreck makes you guilty too.
Guilty of what?
You're guilty of sin! Now, this is your first offense, and I am lenient, so you may be for...
She still thinks that people were mad at her for just associating with Peter? God damn.
Forgiven, but I advise you strongly to keep better company.
Forgive me, my lord, but the only sin is what's been happening beyond your keep. The folk of this town are turning against one another. In fits of rage and bloodlust, I was in my own village, and I was accosted and accused of the most unspeakable things. The folk of Twitlandia threatened to kill us, there in the public square, without even a trial, my...
Oh, Zots, it's totally to get people to stop criticizing Peter. It's like, well, you're only mad at me because I criticized him and not any of the other shit she said.
Lord, I don't know what's gotten into them, but it seemed inhuman. My lord, I've seen others too, torn apart by frenzied crowds. I was lucky enough to get away with my life.
This, my dear...
Oh. You were lucky enough to get away with your life, but you know who else was lucky to get away with their life? Bon. The person who your fans triggered to attempt suicide, and then you and Peter proceeded to call an abuser.
is the work of the invisible hand of the market. A farce on...
Also, comedian, I think that they're still on about the Lorelai Bailey thing because still, I mean, Peter's had a lot of bad takes, but no cancelable takes since that. So, oh, I'm drunk watching this. I'm rage watching it because if I have to suffer, y'all do too.
Unseen, one that thrives when men feed upon each other.
Invisible hand? What could that possibly mean?
Why do peasants toil in the fields? Why do merchants peddle their wares? Why would anyone tweet?
But what of the villagers?
They live. Do they not?
Life is not well lived when such brutality.
Okay, so comedian. For the past while, one of the mods on Peter's streams has been a woman called Lorelei Bailey. She is an FBI snitch who sold out a hacker collective she was associated with, and it has been accused by multiple trans women of rape. Whenever somebody confronted him about this and said, one of my friends is her victim, he said, I'm not involving myself in this. She said, he's a rapist. He said, fuck off. And then Punished Carxist published those screen caps under his old Twitter account, and people were mad at Peter because he was saying, oh, you're mad at me because I'm not taking sides on this, whenever Lorelei Bailey was a known serial offender, and things just kind of exploded from there.
Passes between brethren. How monstrous!
You could call it monstrous, sure, but I know it to be a necessity. There is a reason this kingdom doesn't collapse upon itself, monstrous though it may seem. There too is a reason I live in this castle and you don't. You may not like that, but it suits us just fine. It's the natural order of things. Now please eat.
Your Grace, I fear I've over-availed myself of your hospitality. I must be on my way home.
If you go back to Hamlet, they will draw and quarter you, my dear sweet child. They do not know any better, and they are not conditioned to care. They would compete to be the one that tied you to the horse.
It's an actual joke, but she said that he's been like pretty insufferable since the whole thing too. Like,
they would burn down your shack if it met their ends. Forget about all that. You're safe now. Fed, dry, warm. A beautiful young maiden such as yourself should be well attended and not so eager to subject herself to the random cruelty of the filthy peasantry.
If you won't allow me to go, then I'll take my leave and be candid. I have a lot...
Order things. If it met their ends, forget about all that.
more in common with the filthy peasantry of Twitlandia than I do with someone like you. That's why the attack was so alarming and hurtful.
Oh, it hurt, did it? Let's hear more about that.
Well, I didn't join in their morbid carnival. And so...
You didn't join in in the carnival. You made a video saying that anybody who called out people were clout chasers, and then you proceeded to go hard actually believing that Lorelei Bailey was not a rapist, and then you were like, I can't be a rape apologist. I got Bones deplatformed. And then Bon said, well, no, you're taking too much credit for that. And then Angie just went off on them. Like, she did shit. It wasn't just, oh, I didn't disavow, because people still watch Jack Sane and Bill and Big Joel for some reason. Like...
Renfield called me out.
Ah, Renfield. Good lad. I may make him mayor at some point.
He called me out because I abstained. Many had already viewed me as suspicious. But after this, they all turned on me. My own friends. They said my abstinence was evidence of guilt.
You did abstain, though, and how selfish of you.
She didn't just abstain, she engaged in the denialism.
Those people are hurting, and as they hurt, they have license to hurt others even more. A blight of sin has descended upon their lives and left them bereaved. But did you not also blight them when you abstained?
Your Grace, what could I have done?
You could have vindicated the Wild Hunt and given them catharsis. When the market chooses its victim, the sacrifice is made to the invisible hand, as it has always been. Who are you to abstain from the frenzy? Everyone must feed. Now, eat!
Why must I? What do we gain?
There have always been those with more, and always those with less. Don't you want to be one of those with more? Aren't you hungry?
I asked, what do we gain? It would be better if everybody in the land had what they needed. We need justice. We need equality. Not just catharsis.
Nonsense. The peasants never desired equality, so they must be given order.
Oh yeah, I know it's super obnoxious that if you look at Peter's lips, they're not even done right. They still look pink, and their fingertips look pink too. It's very weird.
Or they'll grab power. If it was about equality, then no one would aspire to be an influencer. So if power is what you desire in this world, you must feed.
But what about when things are genuinely wrong? What about when there's an actual violation? What about when genuine reparations are in order? Surely not everybody who's after justice wants power.
Of course not everyone who says they want justice is after blood, but the invisible hand...
Okay, so Zots, this is why I hate this essay. They're pretty much saying that people who call people out are looking for attention under the guise of looking for justice.
And guides their fervor into actions that create sacrifices for the market. That is the power of our religion. Capitalism. It consumes, recuperates, and commodifies. And in its image, we must consume, recuperate, and commodify as well. Winning the argument feels a whole lot like justice, but winning an argument is watery gruel, and they still eat. They will eat whatever slop the market pours into them. They will be content to let it fill the void in their bellies. The aching hole in the pit of their stomachs reminds peasants of what they lack in society. But it never fills the hole, does it? Winning the argument doesn't just carve a pound of flesh for the victor. It is a delicious temptation for the onlookers as well. An irresistible addiction.
I never want to hear them make that sound again. Yikes.
That's good representation. Each grilled rare pound of flesh will satiate the hunger when served with fava beans and a nice bottle of Chianti. Even those with the best intentions are obligated to expend their vital essences trying to feed if they ever want to have a voice. And every feeding only makes the market stronger.
Your Grace, you talk of the small folk as if they are a resource.
Dear child, that's capitalism. Next time there's a frenzy, ensure you feed. Ensure you regenerate your precious fluids. Asking questions and making complaints will only turn the eyes of those people like the Renfield boy towards you.
Forgive me, but I cannot in good conscience.
So, like, does Peter know that they're playing into this exact thing with their Twitter? Because their Twitter's pretty obviously about the same thing. Or engaging in it unironically.
Take part in this grotesquerie. The market may indeed be the source of vitriol, but the people who act on these impulses need to be made aware of what's going on. No more Renfields. No more finding sinners in every hovel. We have to stop this.
Yeah, I dare you to stop them. If you merely defame the market forces, people would act as though you spat in their open mouths. The denizens of Sinistwiteria obey the market forces. They follow our dogma, and they recite the litanies sung in our churches, because the invisible hand is the only means of achieving social justice. You wouldn't want future Mayor Renfield to tell everyone that you hate minorities, do you?
Your Grace, what exactly are you implying here? Opposing the blight of the invisible hand has nothing to do with hating minorities. The market forces exploit and harm minorities.
Silence! Who are you to decide what harms and aids minorities? Don't you know these things are better left for experts like me to decide? I say what is wrong and right, and everyone in the town follows obediently. This includes you. Without the blessing of the market, you would never have the social capital necessary to prove your expertise. You'll never be allowed to have a valid opinion on these matters. You're not fed enough. You don't appear publicly correct and competent frequently enough. And being on the right side of these issues is imperative to accumulating enough power and respect to prove that you're right. Right now, your comportment suggests that you are wrong.
What side are you on exactly? You've put forward this gorgeous, decadent meal when the people in the township are starving and hacking each other to bits for just a simple taste of food. I didn't ask for it. You want my allegiance because you...
We're not asking for attention, we're asking for basic recognition of wrongdoers in the community, but go off, sis,
think
I
I want your
guess.
permission. But I don't.
How, pray tell, will you get justice without it? No, I will be gracious. The carnival is still going, so why don't you just go back down to town like a good little girl and feed? Are you not hungry? Feed! Feed or be damned!
I can't. I won't.
As you can see, I've had my eye on you for quite some time, girl. So many receipts. The transgressions really are countless.
Let he without sin cast the first stone. I am
Okay, right here, right now. I'm not exactly without sin, but I definitely never denied a rapist.
hale and hearty. I know what is right, and even if I've made mistakes, it doesn't obscure my desire to see the land restored to justice.
That's the thing about sin. It's not up to you what it is. It's up to me. My castle, my town, my land, my world. The peasants dance to my piper's tune, and if some simple wench refuses to join in, well, the dancers all know the steps. The performance is the deed, the tell. What you do inside your home on your own time isn't visible, but in town, you must dance to be one of the good ones. And if you do not dance, then you cannot feed.
There's a culture of fear and silence. The reason why I've been forced to deal with this whole situation as it's played out is because of that. Because of the fact that we're being harassed and coerced to cancel somebody without knowing the full extent of the situation and what has gone on. That is why I have been doxxed. That is why I have been harassed. That is the reason that those people are doing that isn't just for fun. It's because they are trying to coerce us into forcefully acting out in a punitive way against somebody in a situation where we don't have the full knowledge of what's going on. I don't know why this has now become my responsibility to vindicate someone or punish someone.
It's our job because we made it our...
Oh, fuck you! Fuck you, Angie! You've been sitting on this for months. You've been... Oh my god. This is Bond. This is the person that her and her fans harassed into attempting suicide. And this is how... And she's just treating them like a member of the mob? Fuck you, Angie!
Can't be a member of a community where saying I don't know gets you dox threats, gets you hacked.
How's that working out for you so far, Angie? At a certain point, if you feel you haven't been heard, you get fucking angry. And if you get fucking angry, some bad things can happen.
And we've been dealing with it silently, anxious, which is what people don't fucking understand. When we foster this culture of fear and bullying and silence, this is what happens. This is the result of that.
What you're doing is deflecting.
Make it stop. Please, Your Grace. I want to forget. Just please make it stop.
So, you've been going around telling people the blight comes from this castle, my castle. You've been trying to tell people about me, revealing the presence of the invisible hand. Singing your own song about clout, social capital, about everything from factories making our phones to using them to send our opinions to others is someone's business, someone's profit, someone's meal. You've talked about how markets have infected people's very blood.
But none of those are sins. I'm only saying what's obvious. The market is the plague that's starving us all.
Well, I crave the market. I can't live without it. I need it. I don't want to, but I would die if I didn't eat.
But my lord, your plate is so full.
Poor child. Do you not realize? You are the meal.
Sean sends her money. She's been sitting on this. She's been sitting on those tweets for months, and I'm just... painting someone that you harassed into that you and your community harassed into attempting suicide as somebody who's harassing you whenever they only said that, no, you didn't deplatform Bones, I did. That's so irresponsible. Angie is so irresponsible with her platform. Well, we were living in a society here.
Make it stop. Please, Your Grace. I want to forget. Just
Anyway, now that that's done, let me look at my thing real quick.
Joker is good. It's good, good, good. It's so good, I dress like this, despite the fact you will take me 30% less seriously for having dressed as the Joker.
That's implying we took you seriously to start with.
For Halloween. And no, I am not going to sit here and tell you that you have to like Joker. I don't think that. But oh boy, is it ever good. It's so good. There's so many people that like this film. So many have seen it. That right-wing people are trying to claim the film.
Anyway, I'm gonna pause the display capture for a second. And this is literally what Peter and Angie have been saying on Twitter for the past... God, since, like, January now. And... Oh no, I could never leave the internet. I'm so terminally online. But... yeah, so I'll try and refresh the stream. Okay, let's see if things are getting better. Real quick. Anyhow, now that that's all over, what have you all been thinking about this? Because, I mean, I'm generally not... I know I come off on my Twitter and stuff as one of those people who's, like, the first to cancel, but I used to really like Angie's stuff. I found her whenever... I used to be a big fan of the Skeleton Man, and I found her through doing an interview with the Skeleton Man who won't be named, and I binge watched her videos, and I really liked her for a while. And I liked Peter too. I don't think they know that it's people who actually, that the people criticizing them are actually people that used to like them. And I am moving to South Carolina or North Carolina specifically to get away from the... Oh, Jamie, have you been reading my tweet thread about Lenin? So, let's talk about the real things that happened with the vampire castle and how it really worked whenever BreadTube ate itself back in January. Like, it's not how they think it worked. Yeah, Zots, the whole, like, anyone I don't like is a bourgeois opportunist is literally in What Is to Be Done. It's the first chapter. It's very bad. Please never read it ever on your life. And yeah, I just don't think that Peter has ever approached anything in any sort of good faith. They're just so defensive about everything because they're like, well, I was canceled for being catfished, but you saying fuck you to somebody saying this person that you have platformed is a rapist, that's totally different. Lennon? So and if I'm playing with my hair a lot, it's because I had it up and I haven't had it up since, oh god, I haven't had my hair up in years. So my scalp is still, my poor little scalp is still adjusting to it. Oh, lovely. Weird noises in my home. I love that for me. So, I don't think that the people who keep complaining about cancel culture realize that a lot of people are genuinely starting the conversation in good faith and then just get irritated when they refuse, and then people who are criticizing them just get disillusioned whenever they refuse to acknowledge anything that they've done wrong. Like, you know, Natalie's non-apology for platforming Buck Angel. And they're just so full of themselves that they think that nobody could ever be actually criticizing them with actual criticisms, you know? I just get so sick and tired of how big bread tubers think that cancel culture works. Like, a source of cancel culture that people already didn't like who that person was is like Jeffree Star, who's been a racist forever, or Jaclyn Hill, who was already kind of annoying and then knowingly poisoned thousands of customers. It's beauty influencer things because I'm so online with that kind of thing. I really honestly think that Peter has only ever read Mark Fisher, Noam Chomsky, and Zizek, and he only read the parts of Chomsky that he liked. And honestly, I feel like it's the influencers and the creators that really like starts all of this, because when you listen to a lot of people who are actually like genuinely liked by other people, they kind of have little to no actual affection for the stuff as a whole. Wait, Zots, do you want to come on stream? Can I do that? Can I platform you, Zots? But all this infighting stuff, it's literally the fault of the influencers and all of them who think that everything's a competition or a conflict between the little people that watch them and them, the big bad content creators, you know? It's very, how do you do, fellow kids, or whatever. Are you sure, Jamie? Are you sure Peter hasn't read Chomsky? Because he keeps telling everyone to read Manufacturing Consent. Do you think that they just watched the documentary? So, Kompazats is going to be on in a bit. I'm going to disappear for a hot second and get tequila because this discussion always angers me. Do you know how much this conversation angers me about how badly these content creators behave? This is how much it angers me. this is how much it angers me. Oh my... So, it, if you were wondering why I was freaking out at the Bond thing, whenever Angie was having that kind of like tangent on Twitter where she would like name search herself back in February, she said that she talked to the people in charge of Gods and Radicals, and she got Bones deplatformed. Bond said, "No, you didn't. They got in a fight about it. American hosted his stream, trying to be a pacifist, and then, whenever that stream happened, Angie, he invited Bond on stream. Angie and a bunch of her fans misgendered them and sent a whole lot of racist death threats at them, and you could tell it was Angie's fans because there was a lot of apparently British specific anti-Zionist terms, and yeah, Bond went offline for like a day, and then their little sister, who's like 16, went on Twitter and said, trying to get in touch with Kit and the rest of their support system, hey, Bond's in the ER right now, they attempted suicide, and like this whole thing, and the news somehow made its way back to Peter and Angie, and then Angie vagued about it in this really gross way, and then Peter said, "I'm sorry, that's just a blatant abuse tactic." Like, God, wait. Okay. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Hey.
Hi, everybody. How are you? All right. So
Zotz here said that he wanted to make a video on this but didn't feel like typing, so...
yeah, that's pretty much it. I was gonna ask to call in, but I was all snuggled up with the boy and the wife, but this is fine. They're asleep.
Wait, you watch BreadTube in bed with your wife?
I mean, not with her. I mean, she's around. She has no interest in this stuff. What was I gonna say? All right, so one of the common things that I find are that, like being an observer, like a consumer of this content, is a lot of these individuals, like these content creators, like I said, influencers, content creators, thought leaders, all these people. I guess how do I want to, if I were to state this thesis? So right now, with the ability for everybody to communicate basically instantly with each other, for things to develop faster than what maybe one individual can reasonably be expected to handle, right?
Yeah.
I can see how it could be difficult to, you know, take some information in and then like be able to jump on the situation, you know, at the drop of a hat. You know, so sometimes you're literally driving in a car and you can't, you know, you can't drop everything you're doing to do a certain thing.
Yeah, and I totally
But
get that.
yeah, and you know, same with me too. Like I understand that, but if it's things that are building for weeks, and if people within your community that you are, you know, that are listening to you, right? Like you talk about how, like we all understand that as much as we don't want to be, you know, mayors or governors of our own little townships or whatever online or whatever, that's kind of what ends up happening. Just because, you know, you have a microphone, you have a camera, like that's just what ends up happening. Um, but so like when you take somebody who has, so when you have authority and you have a platform, the responsibility, in my opinion, that you have to take is so that things don't escalate to this level, where you have to make a fucking, where you have to
Sit
make a
on screen caps
video.
for like months
Yeah,
because
exactly.
Bond's account got shut down back in, I think, August. The one who I was showing and ranting over because Angie was being a shit.
Hmm.
Yeah, she was sitting on that screen cap for months, stewing over it very obviously.
So, if you are in fact unable to police your community by yourself, and you have mods, but people are speaking out against your mods, it is then your responsibility to confront those mods and ask them what's going on. You know, collect some information from certain people in your community that you trust that aren't modded, gauge the situation when you can, and then approach the people who are being criticized and get their opinion. Like, we try to, especially if you talk about like a democratic, flat hierarchical system, if that is what you truly believe, then do your best to try to do that, you know.
Yeah, like this whole thing happened because Peter said, "Oh, I asked Lorelai about this whole thing. She says that specifically just one of she only addressed one of the accusations. This woman called Natalie Durkin, and she said this one's a liar, and didn't and Peter did not go any further into researching any of the other accusations against Laura or against Lorelai, and."
Okay.
He didn't do his due diligence because it's such an easy thing, one, to remove a mod. It's literally like, what, 2 clicks? And 2, to actually talk to the victims about what happened instead of taking your mod's word for it.
You know, I'll say this. I recently, like within ColorTube, we had a participant in the Discord who felt like one of our mods overstepped their bounds, and I listened to everything that they had said. I listened to the people that they had spoken to, and I confronted my mod about it. And we sorted it out, and for the most part, I haven't seen any more drama come out of it since. But those were the actions that I tried to do, so that, because especially with a new concept like this, like we really can't have, I guess, like Peter Coffin level type controversy.
Yeah,
To
we
put
can't
it,
handle Angie level type controversy, let alone like the Natalie level type controversy that's happening now. That's
Yeah.
like, oh,
I don't think it does justice to the movement, to the social space that we occupy, to make a petty video against the people within your community, veiled under a
anti-capitalism.
philosophical critique, of capitalism. I feel like that's really shitty. But I mean, as far as like what people who make the effort to put themselves in a place, to be genuinely considered a thought leader, because I really feel like that's something that Peter Coffin,
Peter Coffin tries very hard to prove how much he lives in a society, doesn't he?
yeah, like, like this, like he does his best to, or they, I'm not sure what I'm not
Any
sure what his
pronouns.
pronouns are, I can't remember.
I usually switch
so,
between he and they.
Okay. So yeah, so they, yeah, I mean, like, it's not to say that, I mean, it's not like, I wouldn't judge anything that they personally say as being like, bad for the discourse or anything like that, like any of their content or anything like that. But more often than not, the stuff that happens with individuals outside of, or like, like on Twitter or in Discord or anything like that, usually ends up like this, like how it is now, where it's either seems to be like a lot of waves that happen, or like peaks where like it'll just be like everything is fine, and then everything like shoots up and it's like hits like 100 right away, where it's like everything's like fighting, and it usually seems like Peter's at the center of it all a little bit. Sometimes.
At least the specific Lorelai Bailey situation, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was his mod that he refused to talk to other people, because apparently Kiwi Farms people are... Because every allegation, according to Peter, is just from Kiwi Farms, even though we know it's not.
So, I mean, I guess overall, like, what I would like to see, like, or that's why I should have written this down. But this is all coming to my brain as I'm thinking about it. People who have to take responsibility for the platform and for the words that they say, if they're going to manage a community, they have to realize that that's another part of their job. And I'm not saying that Peter or Angie don't, but holding on to information, holding on to tweets, holding on, like being non-transparent about how you came to your decision, and then want to hide behind the critique of the Vampire Castle seems a little backwards to me. Because it's just like you're not being truthful with the people who you are trying to help out of the system. Like, if you're trying to end the struggle, like, I'm not saying you got to let everybody know that every time you bend over to tie your shoes, but at the very least, if there's controversy involved and people are looking at you to solve it, please be forthwith about how you came to the decision that you came to, and then be open to any reasonable critique or any reasonable feedback to what people say to you. Like, this isn't truly believe that you are truly believe that you are for all. The message you're trying to propagate is of, I guess just for sake of words, to make this point easier, just like proletariat. Uh, you know, can't run it like a business. You can't be the CEO and like run this thing where it's just like, well, if you're mad at me, you're mad at my ideas as well, and I can't have that, and I'm going to completely, and then we end up with where things are now.
Yeah, like, I
You
think that a lot of these YouTubers entered into things without knowing the responsibility of having a platform, because I watch a lot of makeup videos, and this kind of thing happens all the time in the beauty community. Like, there's the Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star collab, so the racism discussion is very relevant right now in the beauty community, and there's this meme of how these influencers just have the worst way of addressing things with these really fake apologies with like teardrops or with like water drops of water for your eyes and stuff like that, and faking crying. And it honestly feels like this is what they're doing, except they're being really mean and passive aggressive about it.
Yeah, and that doesn't. All it's going to do is just embolden the people who worship at the idol of their identity. You know what I mean? All it's going to do is it's just going to solidify the people. Like, it's just going to solidify your stance.
It's just going to solidify their cultivated identity. If only Peter made 1,000 videos about that and claimed to understand how that works.
Damn, shots fired. But yeah, it doesn't do anything. Like, I hate, like, even now, like, just thinking about the words that I want to say, it makes it sound like I'm trying to be like, oh, they need to do it like how I'm doing it. But that's not, like, I'm just trying to, like, it's just like, for me, this suggestion or these suggestions that I'm talking about for how people who platform themselves and build a community, these suggestions on how to mitigate any controversy and how to potentially handle any sort of bullshit that happens. I want to heed my own advice, because if I don't practice what I preach, then once again, that comes down to the same thing where we're running into now, where it's like, if you sit here and you talk about people idol worshiping and this cultivated identity and blah blah blah, but like at the same time you can't apply that critique to yourself, that's you lose credibility in my sense, or from my perspective. And so I guess, like, that's, I think, like, you look at shit like what bread tubers out there don't really have a lot of like controversy constantly swirled around them, but they still get critiqued. You know what I'm saying?
Sean, a lot of people think that Sean has pretty shit takes about real life politics and methods of real world action. He's pretty focused on optics.
Yeah.
He like popped off really bad about the Anthony Neo thing.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there are a lot of people, like, within the left that are concerned about optics, not just thought leaders, but also people participating, like.
Yeah, but that was the one that
comment discourse or whatever.
Yeah.
And I understand. I just think that when I look at people like, I mean, there are people that don't like EJ, right? Like
Yeah.
non-compete. Like, we're taking somebody who is probably one of the bigger bread tubers, has like 65,000 subscribers or some shit like that. There are constantly people that
I think he's a little too
don't.
tolerant of Maoism and a little too curious about North Korea. But, like.
But here's the thing, right? He will. You can watch. What I'm trying to make is like you can watch almost in real time his thought process, his transition, as far as like formulating new ideas from the critiques that he's given. He'll comment on it. He'll be a little whiny about it, as we all are about fucking having to grow. Like, work is work. But at the same time, like, he doesn't put down the people who bring up these critiques. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He at least in a public space. I can't say what he says within his home. You know what I mean? I don't live in fucking Vietnam. That ha ha ha. You look at somebody like Thought Slime, who also has like a high subscriber count, and had certain points where they could have been perceived, where things could have gone downhill, and they didn't. You know what I'm saying? Like, not enough to warrant the same type of backlash that often surrounds somebody like Peter Coffin. I'm trying to think, like, you look at somebody like, like Bad Mouse
Yeah.
has often been like up and down on all of this stuff. Like, that's another, like, up there bread tuber who, like, I feel like is how they handle their social media presence. That's like, there's something there that doesn't put them, like, they're able to step off their pedestal, and they're able to talk, like, this is how I perceive it, in my opinion. All these individuals are able to step down off their pedestal to talk amongst everybody else and formulate and change their ideas, new opinions, and they're receptive to those critiques. They don't instantly push back against new ideas or changes to their personal ideology, or what I mean, or at least when they do it, it doesn't seem disingenuous or disingenuous.
It kind of makes me sad that Dave's a tanky now.
Yeah, I know. I know that hurts. I know that hurts you.
It's like if Flipsock Rants just came back and went, I'm an Assadist now.
I don't know. Like, it's like, to me, like, I honestly, I think this has always been a constant problem within BreadTube, and it's one of the things that constantly pisses me off about it. And one of the things
I noticed that the people that this happens around is the people that intentionally build cults of celebrity around themselves, like Peter, like Natalie, like to an extent Ollie. The rest of them, they just kind of happen to have platforms and they're pretty chill about it. But whenever you have someone that knows that they have a platform and likes that how much of a platform that they have, they don't take criticism well at all.
Yeah, I think that sums it up fairly well. I honestly, I think if we were to, like, boil this conversation down, like if you are going to take this stance, the responsibility you have to do is you have to be able to walk among the masses, as it were, for lack of just better terminology. You know, you have to be able to step off your pedestal, and you need to be able to talk to the people
Yeah,
and
because
still
whenever
walk with you.
because whenever you see these YouTubers that kind of like, I've seen a lot of YouTubers that kind of transparently dislike their audiences, and they kind of always get in this shit. Like, Lindsay's one, she's always been pretty transparently resentful of her audience. And to make up YouTube, Sam Ravendall and Rob Beauty Christie and Thomas Halbert and Jeffree Star, they've always been pretty irresponsible with how much they just blatantly don't like their fans. It's very weird.
I mean, I don't understand that either. If your community is so toxic, even for you to handle, maybe once again, it's all about taking that responsibility. You know, let's say like we have to be able to keep ourselves connected to the people who are working with us. Like, we can't be disconnected from them. No, this is I guess my ideology, where it's just like, you know, like you have to be able to you can't view yourself as better than anybody else. We're all in this together. We're all the fucking same. Like, you know, I'm all for like, if somebody has a better fucking idea, cool. Like, let's fucking do it. Let's make it happen. If it makes more sense, then yeah, let's do this thing. If we have, you know, if we're all working together, that's what it is. Like, we're working together, and you can have like, you know, quote unquote leaders or whatever doing certain tasks that they're more fitted for. But like, let's say for me, like, somebody comes out that has, you know, that can do what I'm doing, but 100 times better, you know, with what somebody has the same shared goals that I do, and they're doing it like 100 times better. I have no problem going to them and being like, hey, would you like to work together? I would much rather support you in some capacity and work with you and do something, and then, you know, and, you know, me having to be like, I need to do this by myself. This is my baby. These are my ideas that I need to get out there. You know, that's just my view on it. Like, I can't like
We're all in this together, and no man is an island, and whenever you try to hold yourself up as a leader in an ideology that is inherently against leaders, things are going to get ugly and messy.
Yes, thank you. That's basically it. Like, if, you know, we have to be humble. You know, that's it. Like humility is key. Like empathy and humility are really big things that we need to hold close to our chests, especially in a period of time where idol worship is extremely strong. I mean, like, there's like so many people are out there looking for answers, and I'm not necessarily talking about like, you know, routinely you know, are on the up and up, but I mean, like, you know, people who are new to this community and people who come in, like, they're here looking for something, and if all we're giving them is another idol to blindly worship, you know, we're not doing our jobs, you know. We're not doing what we're not following behind our core tenets, in my opinion.
Yeah.
at that point in time, just admit you're on here to make money. Just admit you're on here to.
Just say it's a grift.
Yeah, I mean, just admit that you're on here to, make something of yourself. Like, be at least be honest. Like, I can respect honesty. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like a lot more people can respect honesty. Like, if you don't lie to people, you know what I'm saying? Like, they'll respect it. And then you can just be burdened by, the free market, and then like let shit, organically grow from that. But if you're going to be on this space and your goals are going to be towards helping people, and you want to, quote unquote, end capitalism, and you want to destroy the system, and you want to lead people down this path of true change, but all you're offering them is unsafe spaces and merchandise, and you're not allowing them, voices to critique you, critique your thought, critique the people that you put into quote unquote authority. How do you expect to, what do you expect to do if we do succeed in destroying the system? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
what?
exactly. It's
Like,
you're not immune to propaganda.
yeah. So it's like, if we do succeed in whole, and this is how you have chosen to sustain yourself. This is how you've chosen to lead, that's not going to hold up in a society where people have equal voice. People have, as close to equal authority as they can. You have to be willing to step down. You have to be willing to have your power stripped from you if the people choose to say that, like, what you have to say isn't, valid anymore. I guess we can use this as an opportunity to talk about cancellation. I don't wholeheartedly agree with the whole canceling of an individual over misstepping or like misspeaking or something like that. If it is truly an egregious act, like, if they if they used their authority to take advantage of somebody, then yeah, of course, they deserve to be deplatformed. They deserve to lose their authority for using it.
Everybody thinks that the people that are in trouble get canceled over like just one small thing, but the Natalie thing, the people are mad at Natalie because she's been saying the same thing that has been pretty quietly but steadily saying how invalidating non-binary people for a full calendar year, and we just got sick of it after she platformed Buck Angel. But there's always been a pretty loud criticism of Natalie in non-binary leftist spaces, but after that, it's like, okay, you're making it pretty clear what you think of us. We don't want anything to do with you anymore, And it's whenever it's a pattern for me that it becomes, okay, you're not learning from this.
Yeah, no, and that's valid. And if they are going to be, and I guess, let's take it. So if Natalie decides that she is going to, if this is the hill that she chooses to die on, then I mean, I guess, I don't know, and then we'll just see where that lands. I mean, at a certain point, being vocal as somebody who, it's like this, right? So like, how many, like, if you have a friend who you're just like, hey, this relationship you're in is really abusive, and they're trying to get rid of all your friends, and they're alienating you from your family, and your
That's
opinion
the
on
real life
them or
situation
whatever.
I'm in right now with one of my friends.
But and so like whatever, and it's just like at some point they need to learn that they're making a mistake, and you don't abandon them, but at some point you have to step back, and you just have to be ready to
Ready for shit to happen.
yeah, and you have to be ready to receive them when they genuinely realize their mistake. I've seen it so many times in my life, and I feel like that's the type of thing that's the way that I feel like a lot of situations like this need to handle. Instead of creating more drama and giving this person and amplifying this person's platform and giving and emboldening bases and giving their followers or people who are tangentially involved, a cause to rally behind, whether it's for one side or the other. Just say what you got to say, and step off, whether that means leaving their Discord, leaving their community, unfollowing them, unsubscribing from them, ignoring, like stop giving views to people that platform them, whatever, what have you. Like it's the same thing that I say about Destiny, where it's just like, stop fucking talking to him. Stop talking about him. Stop platforming him. Stop calling him.
Just activates the algorithm.
Yeah. And so it's, the best that we can do, like if we all realize that we all have to exist in the same system and we all understand how that system works, and like then fucking follow through on that and do what you can to do what you can to play by those rules. You know what I'm saying? Like do it. So once again, unfollow, unsub, like stop talking, stop giving them,
stop giving them Patreon money. Don't buy their merch.
Yeah. Stop fucking just stop. And then whenever, if that's what they're going by, if that's what's giving them their value, when they start losing that in droves, then they'll realize their mistake. If they don't realize their mistake, then they'll double down on the mistakes that they did make, and that's on them. You hate to see it, but I mean, you can't save everybody. You can't. You know what I mean? People have to learn. Unfortunately. And
they have to go to the social gulags.
Yeah, basically, yeah. We don't exile enough people. I think we need to bring exiling back. Maybe not the whole tar and feather thing, but maybe maybe just exiling them out of the community. Yeah. So that's I guess like that's all I'm saying. Like when things like this happen, constantly talking about it. Like say what you need to say. I'm not saying people need to shut the fuck up. Like obviously, like if there's a problem, especially if it involves like a group that you are a part of, you understand what I'm saying? If that is a thing, then say what you need to say. Then your voice is definitely needs to be heard. But to continue in a conversation in public that like when that person's whole livelihood depends on discourse remaining public for them, you're not doing anything for your argument. You're just you're not doing anything that's going to help them grow as an individual. You're helping them just grow as an identity, and you're helping them make money. Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
You're helping or social capital, and that's definitely not going to be something that's going to benefit you or anybody else. within our within our community.
Yeah, so anyway, it is getting late. I am very tired. So, uh, hopefully, I mean, I can't talk to you at Unidos this week because my, brother is, it's family day and my brother has a new girlfriend and I'm not looking forward to that at all. So I can't so I can't hang out on Unidos on Sunday, but sometime else I'll probably hop on stream or something.
Fair enough. I am going to be interviewing the Garbage Bin of Ideas tomorrow night. So if you guys want to check that out, it'll be on YouTube for once. I feel like I've been
You've been ignoring us.
I've been ignoring the YouTube. I know. I honestly, I have to. Here's the thing: when it comes to Twitch versus YouTube, Twitch is it's more fun, like as far as things, because like I can play music, like I can play random music videos and not have to worry about my page being like stricken down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I can, somebody can give me a link and I can just go to it right away without having to worry about, the YouTube ban hammer like fucking with me. That's the only reason why I like to do it. I might be switching to doing just live streams only on Twitch, or if I'm just fucking around, I'll go to Twitch. But if I do like something like if I'm making agitprop on camera or whatever, I usually do some on Twitch and then some on YouTube, because I do feel like that's something that as many people need to see.
Just make sure that next time you at least have a bandana on or something.
Fucking up, doing stuff all around. Everybody needs to see me making mistakes. And boy, do I make mistakes.
Yeah, we know. I was there for that stream. Anyway.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, you have a good night.
Yeah,
bye,
I hope
everybody.
I did wake
Thanks.
Your baby up.
No. They were already up. They're teething, so like life is pain.
Oh, God.
Existence is pain for them.
Yeah, so. Isabella started teething recently too, because she's coming up on 7 months old now, so she's been teething pretty bad too, and that's just really fun to have that coming in. And then Isaac's 4, so next year he'll start losing his teeth, which is also fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to say I'm just finally able to go through chat. I love the idea of using CakeTube.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell Tottenham about that, and he is going to absolutely laugh. He'll think that's fucking hysterical. Also, Jamie, and to Jamie J's last comment, nobody gets canceled over a bad take. They get canceled over harmful views that they consistently defend. Absolutely. And
yeah, they just think that it's a straw that breaks the camel's back, but they only see it as that straw.
Yeah. And I hope that like what I was saying didn't get lost, but that's kind of what I was trying to get at. If let's see, if they get canceled or harmful views, so like canceling them, I feel like is like over the views that they consistently defend, right? Like, so that's what I was saying before. Like, if they make the same mistake over and over again, they deserve to start losing viewers. But basically say your piece and then fuck off. You know what I'm saying? Like, say your piece and then give your support to somebody else. Give your, use the extra time you have in their videos, and do something. You know what I'm saying? That's just kind of how I see it. I'm trying to think of I've stopped watching